Welcome to BetterBooks with Kathy Houston. This is the Accounts Payable section where we will tackle any issues affecting your bills that you owe to vendors. So the first liability that we're going to discuss is accounts payable. So look on your balance sheet. If you don't use accounts payable, if you don't use that part of your software, feel free to skip to the next couple of slides, skip past the accounts payable part. But if you do use accounts payable, what we want to do is we want to pull an AP aging summary and we want to review that for errors. So if you do have errors on your accounts payable, it's going to be for these three reasons. It's going to be because maybe that bill was paid after your report date. So it may show on the report that you're pulling that it's still due, where in fact you've already paid it. The second reason would be that the payment was not applied to the vendor account. And the third reason would be that the bill was entered twice. And we're going to discuss each one of these. So if you're pulling a report date to meet the date that's on your balance sheet, it may show the bill outstanding as of that date, but it was actually paid after the report date. So the solution to this is to pull a report with a current date to see if it's still reflecting as an outstanding balance. If the bill is still showing outstanding when you pull a current accounts payable report, it could be that the bill was paid without using the Pay Bills application. You can fix this problem by one of two ways. First, if the bill is in the current year, you can delete the outstanding bill, or you can delete the check that paid the bill, go back to the Pay Bills, select the bill, and recreate the payment. If your account's already been reconciled, then you'll have to manually reconcile that updated payment. If you have multiple bills that need to be addressed, we'll discuss that next. So let's break down that second way with some visuals. The first thing that you're going to do is go to your bank register, delete the check that paid the bill, then go back to the Pay Bills and select the bill and recreate the payment. If the previous check that was deleted was reconciled, you will have to manually reconcile the updated check by clicking the box beside the check amount until a check mark appears, and that will be in your bank register. Okay, what if a bill was entered twice? That's a pretty easy one. Just go to the vendor transaction screen and delete the duplicate bill only after you have confirmed it was entered twice by mistake. So here's the general journal entry for prior year AP adjustments. First and foremost, you have to date the general journal entry for the current year. Prior year transactions cannot be deleted if the tax return for that year has already been filed. Second rule is most software will only allow one vendor per general journal entry. So if you have multiple transactions, you can't do all of those within one general journal entry. You're going to have to create different general journal entries for each one. But looking at this, we're going to debit accounts payable, and then you're going to code that to the specific vendor. The next line will be the crediting the expense account, and that's going to be coded to whatever that original accounts payable expense account was for. So if it was office supplies, then we're going to credit office supplies. Now, if for some reason your vendor is showing a negative balance, you're going to use the same general journal entry, but you're going to switch the debit and credit. So you're going to credit accounts payable and debit the expense. And once you've posted these general journal entries, you have to go to the Pay Bills and apply these credits to completely zero out the account. Now, it will zero it out on your accounts payable report, but you really want to go back and grab that credit so that it clears it and you're not seeing it every time you go to pay bills. Here's some accounts payable tips to make your life easier. Number 1, request a W-9 for every vendor. This will ensure that you have the correct name, address, Social Security number, EIN, so that when you get to the end of the year to do the 1099s, everything's already in your software. You are required to issue a 1099 to any person vendor that you have paid at least $600 over the course of the year for services performed by someone who is not your employee, including parts and materials. I've given you a link for the instructions for the W-9. I've given you a link for the instructions for the 1099s. And the other tip that I have for you is if you have workers' comp, all of your subcontractors must supply you with a certificate of insurance prior to completion of the work. Any subcontractor that does not have workers' compensation will fall under your policy, and you will be charged for the payments made to them. Getting these documents up front will save you time and money. Ask your agent for information to make sure you are covered when your workman's comp audit comes around. Last tip, any subcontractor's payments subject to workers' comp under your policy should only be charged for labor, not materials. Great work. Keep it going. You're learning so much and you're growing in your ability to take control of your books and your financials. Great job.